62. You can reverse those numbers. 6'2". I feel like I'm 26 because of what we're going to talk about here. My wife as well. She's 60. She'll be 62 in May. And we just feel like kids. It's just remarkable. I was introduced real briefly because I know we want to get into the meat of this, how it can help people who have issues, whether they're sleeping issues or hormone issues. My wife had some hormone issues, pretty remarkable results. But I was introduced to this 12 years ago by a dear friend, Debbie. She's Debbie Wetzler. She's not a doctor, but she told me what this product had done for her mom with her joint problems and her breathing problems. And she showed me her skin. She had an issue that people a lot of times get on their elbows. We don't use diagnostic terms, disease names, because this is not a medicine. Although a pharmaceutical company, they would have buried it if they gotten this. Pharmaceutical companies don't want people to be well. They need people to be sick to need their product, which is fine. I mean, but there are better approaches to health, I believe, than waiting till you're sick and taking medicines. I know you believe that too. But when she brought it to me, my dad was ill. So I looked at this for my father, not for me. I was 50 at the time. I really was not looking for anything for me, but my dad had a very grave issue in his body that no one wants to hear they have in any part of their body, whether it's their prostate or their breast or their lung or pancreas. So I looked at it for my dad, investigated it, that it was something very, very different, as we'll talk about, than anything else. I didn't know at the time what a massive breakthrough that it is in health science, that it actually kind of dwarfs penicillin in what this is. The only thing that I can think of on the same level of being a breakthrough would be stem cells. It's just a totally different approach than pharmaceuticals, right? Helping the body kind of regenerate itself.
I'm a biologist and a holistic health practitioner for animals and humans. And so I've been working with natural remedy. I'm a firm believer that nature has all the answers. And I'm also a firm believer of the power of ourselves to heal ourselves. But my view is, why make life difficult for yourself? If there are these things out there that can make life easy for yourself, because we are bombarded from all directions with stress, with pollution, with food that's not real food anymore, you name it. And so therefore, for the average person to keep up with all this, it's challenging. And, you know, as a mum, first and foremost, yes, I work with people and animals all over the world, but first and foremost, I'm a mum. And I can see the challenges that my children have thrown at them. And when I saw this, it was like how I felt when I learned to be an iridologist. It's so foundational, David, in terms of the communication. So the way I look at it, I'm not a mechanic, but if you've got a really amazing Aston Martin, but the fuel pump is constricted in some way, it doesn't matter how good that engine is or how good the fuel is that you're putting in there, it's not going to get to where it needs and the car can't perform. And what I see time and time again with the clients and the people I work with is this breakdown in the cellular communication, which means they can be pumping some really amazing things into themselves, but it's not doing the job it needs. I've just been completely blown away by the results of these, not just in humans, but in animals. Can you talk us through about why the redox molecules are so foundational at this cellular communication level?
Absolutely. And the analogy you give is a good one. And one of the ones that I give is very similar. You know, we can all buy a cell phone, right? We can buy a old flip phone. We can buy a cheap smartphone. We can buy the one that does everything, right? Most expensive one. But if it doesn't have good signal, then all it is a camera and a flashlight. You have to have good signal. You have to have good communication. If the signal's not good, what are you going to do with it? You're stuck on the side of the road with a $4,000 phone and you have no signal. You can't call for a tow truck because you can't do anything with it. Same thing with the body. You said with all these things that are thrown at us, toxins, stress, pollution, all these things are thrown at us. And then we try to take all these different pills. You know, you go into a health food store, I walk down the aisle and I'm pretty versed in this stuff, but I walk down the aisle and I see some of these, it's like so overwhelming. Like there's 17,000 different things that you can put in your body. But again, it's like all the features on a phone, if there's not communication happening and the cells are not repairing themselves and the cells are not replacing bad cells with good cells, then what good does it do? And that's what I love when you said it's foundational. What's unique about this is, as opposed to all the things in the health food store, all the things there, this is in us. This isn't a pharmaceutical. It's not a nutritional. It's none of that. This is redox signaling molecules. It's in us. Our cells make it. Our cells make it from saline. People say, why is it how it says the ingredients are salt and water? The ingredients are salt and water to make these reductants and oxidants, these redox signaling molecules. They're made from 4 atoms: sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen, and in different configurations other than sodium chloride and H2O. So people say, well, why salt water? Why saline? Because that's what we're filled with. Right? When you cry, it tastes salty. When you sweat, it tastes salty. When you get an IV at the hospital, it's saline. Our cells are filled with saline. Body is going to respond better when it's younger than when it's older. And this is basically, I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it's the fountain of youth. And I've seen it for the past 12 years. And by the way, fortunately, there's another little side benefit is skin is made up of cells, right?
I know, mine's so much better.
You look younger than when I met you a few months ago. I can't believe it. But I do believe it because I've been doing this long enough. But and I want to answer your questions, but the gel version of it, okay, and the company has products that, it's all about cellular health. Everything is about cellular health. They have about 13 products here in the US. I think they have them all there in UK also, but in US, there are 13 products. The gel version of this is Renew 28, and it's marketed for anti-aging. So it's interesting. It makes a believer out of anybody in minutes, not for wrinkles, but I'll tell you why, why, but it's clear. There's no smell. Remember, it's made from saline, and this is patented, by the way. There's patents on this. So I'm rubbing it on my face. I already did it this morning, but I'm doing it again. That's okay. It's and you take pictures of your skin, watch what happens to wrinkles, watch what happens to spots over time, or I give it at least 30 days. But there's something that's fascinating about it within 10 minutes that anybody who says, Catherine, I can't believe it. I read online, it's just salt water. If it was this good, we would know about it. It's got to be some kind of scam. And the company's 13 years old. They grow revenue every year. They've done over $1 billion in sales. I mean, you can't fool people with salt water, but here's how people prove it to themselves. They find something on their body that hurts them. Their neck, their back, maybe they got a little stiffness in their hand or their neck. Maybe they were in a car accident. They can't turn their neck, whatever it is, anywhere in the body. They can't do a deep knee bend. It hurts to come up. They rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really bad and 1 being a little bit. They shake up the gel and they don't put it on once. They can, but if they put it on 3 times in 5 minutes, it's pretty fascinating what happens to 9 out of 10 people. 9 out of 10. Very remarkable. And they realize this is not salt water. There's something really, really significant here. And it leads them to the fact that, okay, this is the more important version of this, but sometimes it can take a day, it can take 90 days to see the results. But this builds their belief real quickly. Yeah. And the bonus is you look younger.